Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The forces of order face off in this Warhammer World Championship matchup between Lotus Moon on the High Elves and Dragon Turtle on the Empire. So for the High Elf forces in the front, we are going to have a couple of Shadow Warriors going to be rolling on in, and they do have stock, so they will be nice and hidden until they get in range to be firing away. We do have Alariel the Radiant. She's going to be bringing in Earthblood, Arcane Conduit, and the Star of Averlorn. And for the rest of the forces, we do have a Star Dragon off in the rear here, going to be kind of keeping in reserve once the most of the threats to it have been dealt with. And in the rear for the artillery, we are going to have some Eagle Claw bolt throwers spread pretty far apart, and they are going to have some spearmen kind of off protecting them with some roaming dragon princes as well. And we are going to be seeing a Mage of Fire as well coming on in with Fireball, as well as the Book of Hoeth, giving it a little extra power recharge. It does not give any additional power reserves, but it does give a little bit of extra magic when you need it most. Now, for the forces of the Empire, we do have Marcus Wolfhart. He is going to be rolling on in up front, and he is going to be firing off pretty early on. He's going to be targeting Alariel up on her Eagle there, and he's going to be making some very, very nice connection, doing some early damage there. And then for the rest of the forces, it is going to be Spearmen in that front line, going to be holding things back. And for the long-range duel, it is going to be some great cannons off in the back, going to be protected by some Spearmen from any sneaky little rear charges. And then for the secondary infantry line, it is going to be Swordsmen, the Sigmar Sons, a nice unbreakable unit, and some more swordsmen off into that side. For the ranged, we do have handgunners and some crossbowmen, and then we also do have a Jade Wizard going to be rolling in with Regrowth, going to be healing up these Demigryph Knights in the back, one of which is the Royal Altdorf Griffites, which do have bonus versus large, fear, and terror, as well as the regular Demis who only have their fear. And it is just the shock variant, so there is no halberds for those guys. And then we have a couple Empire Knights or some cheap, nice light cavalry. That is going to be the armies, so let's get things rolling, as both sides are going to start repositioning. Alariel going to be licking her wounds pretty early on, taking that shot from Marcus Wolfhart, who does have Hunter Snare, and well as both Focus Shot and the Amber Bow. Focus Shot does more damage the lower the HP of your target gets, and the Amber Bow just does some nice bit of damage as a raw value. So Marcus is just going to be kind of keeping his distance, going to be firing in, making Alariel juke as many shots as he can, while the Hiles are going to be moving up with their Shadow Warriors, looking to kind of just soften the front line here, and potentially kind of would like to get in range of either these great cannons or crossbowmen or handgunners, but they're going to have to settle for some more of the frontline troops, because if they get too close, they are going to be spotted, which they are spotted here, and that is going to be turning the attention of the Empire's focus to these units up front, who are pretty isolated right now. They don't have any real support in the rear. The Dragon Princes trying to stay out of range of those great cannons, trying to let these Eagle Claw bolt throwers do as much damage as they can, but Marcus Wolfhart is going to be responding with his Hunter Snare, as the Empire Knights do push forward, going to be charging down these Shadow Warriors, trying to get as on top of them as quickly as they can. But the Snare does wear out just before they do get there, so they are going to be able to start pulling back, but that is not going to be stopping those Empire Knights, and they are going to be getting on top of the Shadow Warriors. However, the other unit is going to be making a little bit of a pincushion out of these Empire Knights, and they are going to be trying to go in, as I do see a Fireball arcing its way on through, going to be targeting the Spearmen, going right down the line of the Spearmen, doing a nice bit of damage there, as it does kind of clip through the longest part of that formation. And now these Empire Knights are finally going to be pulling back as the Dragon Princes come in, as well as the Spearmen, definitely doing a nice bit of damage, but they did take a bit in return. But really dealing with the Shadow Warriors is going to be very key for the Empire forces, because once they are dealt with, and if they are able to withstand these Eagle Claw bolt throwers in the rear, if that great cannon crew can stay alive, which has been able to keep all of its artillery pieces alive and well so far, and is now firing into these Dragon Princes, doing a lot of damage, which is pretty much why those Dragon Princes did want to stay nice and safe in the rear. Star Dragon gets a very nice breath off onto these Spearmen, going to be making sure these guys are going to be routing very, very early on. But with that initial hits onto Alariel and the charge of the Shadow Warriors, the balance power is actually favoring the Empire forces, and that Fireball are trying to arc its way into these great cannons, cannons does miss those artillery pieces. Definitely is one of the big reasons why that fireball caster was brought, was making sure that they did win the artillery duel. Unfortunately, that is not going their way just yet so far, as the Demigryph Knights do get a nice little charge into the Dragon Princes, but the Star Dragon is in here for support. This could be a very nice time for either a Star, but he's going to be using an Earthblood instead, going to be healing them up, and those Demigryph Knights are taking a considerable amount of damage, as those Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers as well are just peppering into those flanks of the Demis, and there is that Star going to be healing up Malariel, the Dragon Princes, and that Star Dragon very, very effectively. However, these handgunners are going to be mitigating that to an extent, getting some nice volleys into these very expensive units here. Any shot that does hit there is going to be very, very helpful, and these Empire Knights are getting a nice little catch on the Mage here, but the Spearmen are going to be kind of collapsing in, so the Empire Knights probably going to be wanting to pull on out of here, doing some nice bit of damage, almost able to break it, but I think the Mage should be surviving here, at least for now, and the Demis pulling back, getting a regrowth off, trying to heal up as best they can. All the Royal Altar of Gryphites are still around, and that Star Dragon took a ton of shots from these handgunners here, and it is getting very low indeed, and that is going to be making a prime target for that focus shot from Marcus Wolfhart. However, the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is completely unopposed right now and unprotected, so if the Empire wanted to kind of peel off their Empire Knights, it definitely could be doing that just now, but however, one of those Empire Knights is going to be routing off the field, and so far the Empire is surviving these onslaught very well. The Royal Altar Gryphites able to deal with these Dragon Princes far from the help of anything that could assist it right now. Star Dragon, Alariel, the other Dragon Princes, and even the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers aren't really going to be able to help out those Dragon Princes off in the rear, so they are going to be kind of caught out, trying to get back closer to the rest of the units. The Fire Mage does go down here. I'm going to be routing, and then actually just outright gets killed from the surround of the Empire Knights, and maybe even a little bit of friendly fire coming in from that Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, and there is that focus shot going to be coming on in, trying to target that Star Dragon. The wind up and the pitch going to be going on in, and actually is going to be missing that Star Dragon as the shot goes way off into the distance. Might be going through some Empire home in the near future. But so far, Empire is still looking very, very strong in this fight. They still have Marcus Wolfhart with a ton of ammunition left. Their Jade Wizard is sitting nice and safe, and their Cav engagements have gone very well for them so far. They did take a lot of damage early on from these Demigryph Knights, but these Royal Altar Gryphites hounding those Dragon Princes very, very effectively, keeping them long ways away from help, and they will be pretty much in sorely need of some heals and some assistance, but the Star Dragon, all the other Dragon Princes have taken a ton of damage from these handgunners and the Great Cannons, who've just been completely unopposed at this time, and now these Empire Knights, seeing the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower nice and unprotected, going to be getting a nice little charge in, as actually all the Shadow Warriors as well are getting very low in terms of ammunition, so their stopping power is going to be mitigated so far, but the Star Dragon going to be diving on in, trying to save his Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower as best as he can, and that Empire Knights here are going to be pulling right on out. If we take a look on the other far flank of this engagement, Alariel is going to be trying to assist her other haggard Dragon Princes here, as they've been taking a ton of damage from the Royal Altar of Gryphites, and the other Demis are in the fight as well, and they actually might be able to kind of pull through here and win against these Dragon Princes. The other Dragon Princes are actually terrified from the Royal Altar ones, and yeah, they might very well just break here. They are getting very, very low. Alariel is not going to be able to really assist these guys for a whole lot longer, and they're very likely to be losing both the Dragon Princes and the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower crew. Definitely making a good, strong case for the Empire here in that late game, as Marcus is able to just kind of continually clean up. There's just way too much infantry left here for any of these Spearmen to handle, and that might just be a little too much for that Star Dragon as well, because we still have a handgunner unit. We have the Great Cannons, who have all of their models left right now. Unfortunately, none of the Magic or Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers were able to land any good hits against them, and that Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower at this point now is just going to be electing to use its spread shot, trying to whittle out down the range department of the crossbowmen and the handgunners, hoping that that Star Dragon is going to be able to carry in the late game, especially with Alariel in support. Can get quite a bit more heals, and there is very far away from its healing cap. And there is another Star of Avalorn somewhere off in the fringes. Might be a good time to get that healed up. But here is another focus shot going to be coming in from Marcus Wolfhart. And let's see if this one is going to land home, as the shot does go off, and it does connect, doing a nice little bit of damage there. And it's just going to continually get whittled down bit by bit, getting very low indeed, and is getting low in leadership as well. And if that Star Dragon does break, there's not going to be a whole lot of help left. And it does try and get a breath in, but against a moving target, not really the best use of that breath attack. Star Dragon, though, is going to be getting that Star of Avalorn, but in the meantime, these handgunners going to be seeing a nice stationary target that has to stay inside this little circle here, is just going to be getting lit up by these handgunner volleys, and as well as Marcus Wolfhart as well, continuing just to fire in. and was surrounded by the Royal Outdoor Griffites, who had an overcasted regrowth going on top of them, doing some nice bit of work there, getting 2,000 HP back. And that is going to be all she wrote, though, as the Star Dragon of L'Oreal is just not going to be enough to cut it, and they will not be able to carry in that late game. And forces of Sigmar do pull through. So let's take a little look at the after battle report and see how things did. The handgunners, cannons, and even the crossbowmen probably did quite well as the lovely Demigryph Knights as well, getting 1,000 value on one of them, 1,700 on the other. And then if you look at the Great Cannon, 2,800 in value, able to fire freely for the entire match. Bolt throwers just were not able to really get in range, and the fireballs that were sent its way did fall a little short. So unfortunately, the efforts to snipe that bad boy out did not prove fruitful, and boy did it punish the High Elves in return, doing a ton of damage there. Handgunners doing okay work. Thought they would have been doing a little bit better. They did get some very nice volleys off into the Star Dragon, but it looks like it was the Great Cannon doing most of that damage anyways. Marcus Wolfhard himself getting 2,400 nice focus shots, and a nice amber bow early on against L'Oreal, doing a nice bit of early damage, forcing some early heals out of her. And then if we just take a quick look at the rest of the forces, not really expecting a whole lot out of these guys. Most of that work was done with that ranged, and even the Empire Knights doing very, very well, out damaging the Demigryph Knights, getting some nice value off onto those Shadow Warriors. Very expensive unit there to be taking that much damage. They did get caught out pretty early on, these Shadow Warriors. However, they were able to last, and they did get quite a few shots off throughout the course of the fight, though they really needed to probably do a little bit more against more high-value targets. And unfortunately, the Dragon Princes really kind of fell short here, not really able to do a whole lot, getting chased by the Demis for the most part, unable to really go on the offensive. And yeah, High Elves were pretty much on the back foot throughout the course of that fight. And yeah, it's easy to see, and not a whole lot of value on the High Elf side. And very well played by Dragon Turtle on the Empire. And that is going to be all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the battle. And as always, have a good one.